Broadcasting from Miami, Florida.
Check this out.
Let's go. Welcome to 25-8 The Culture. Yeah. On who's hot and who's not. Everything hip-hop. Turn it on, turn it up, get it loud. Here we go. You're now vibing with 25-8 The Culture.
Yo, you already know what it is, man. It's your boy DJ Pablo Maccabee from 25-8 The Culture with your host, D-Wise from the Big Fellas.
You already know what it is, you know what I'm saying? Boy, D-Wise in the building, you know what I mean? Got the Big Fellas hat rocking. Yo, shout out to MTF, my tatted family, you know what I'm saying? Oh, yeah, you already know. You know what I mean? You got to coordinate, you know what I'm saying? Got the watch on, looking sexy and all that. Let's get to it, y'all.
We also got in the building my homeboy, Big Money Boy Lance, man. What to do?
Hey, what's good, fellas? What's good? Happy to be here. This is a big show we got going. So I ain't got no cup today. We talking money, so I ain't want no drink, but I definitely got the smoke in the other hand. So let's get to it.
Yo, definitely. And today's a different episode. We're going to talk crypto today. And my special guest, Dandrea, software engineer, crypto and stock trader. Welcome.
Hey, what's going on, guys? I mean, I need a cool name like Big Money Lance, man. But yeah, I'm a software engineer by trade. I make so basically I make financial modeling software for private equity funds when they're looking to buy companies or acquire companies for their portfolio. And from that, you know, didn't really get me into crypto, but from that, it definitely helps being able to see the overall landscape of investing, right? So in my free time, then I got into crypto at around 2013. I'm buying my first couple of Bitcoins. Started to get in. I was a maximalist all the way up until about 2017, where I started maximalist, meaning that I was Bitcoin and Bitcoin only. Bitcoin's the OG. You don't need anything else but Bitcoin, right? And then 2017 kind of flipped my script a little bit and started to take a look at some of the altcoins. I think my first couple were Litecoin, Ethereum, of course, ones that are very recognizable. Now I hold a portfolio, I think around 7 different altcoins along with the Bitcoin as well. So yeah, I'm excited to talk about this. This is one of my favorite topics. And I know for a fact that, you know, if you're in a position right now, you're listening to this podcast, you're watching it, and you have the ability to take notes, it's something you're going to want to do. Because I'm going to be dropping a lot of stuff that is extremely important to kind of like flip this paradigm that we have from how we treat our money now and what we've been taught into how we're going to look at it going to the future. So thank you so much to Pablo, D-Wise, Big Money Lance for giving me this ability to jump on here with you guys. You guys are super cool, and I just can't wait to get into it, man.
Definitely. Really quick, I just wanted the viewing audience know I met him on Clubhouse in a room called Cryptos for Latinos. You know, for those that don't know, I'm Jamaican, West Indian, Cuban, so I'm a Latino as well. So, you know, and we definitely want the, you know, Black community, brown community, definitely jump on this wave because crypto seems like it's definitely going to be the future. And hopefully after this show, you realize that it's something that you should definitely be investing in. And that's why I had Drew on the show, so he could definitely break down things that are maybe seem complicated in a less complicated way. And let's get to it. D-Wise, go ahead with the questions.
Man, so jump right into it, you know what I mean? First of all, thanks for jumping on, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I believe the knowledge about to drop is going to be powerful because we, all of us on this is talking about generational wealth. And we've all have our horror stories, how all 3 of us have dropped the ball getting into Bitcoin. We all had different stories. Some people had excuses, some people didn't, but it was all presented to us. And because we didn't have the knowledge, we probably failed because, you know, knowledge is power, you know what I'm saying? So because of the lack of and the superstition of like, I don't know, I don't feel right here. What? It's not FDIC approved? Nah, son, someone's going to have to take that shit. You know what I'm saying? So that was just our mindset. So first of all, I just want to say, how'd you get involved in this? Like, as far as cryptocurrency, how did you like jump into that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I had just a friend in high school who was known as like the gamer kid, where always playing games, always playing Halo, Gears of War, we online all together. And, you know, I was into sports, right? Heading to sports heavily, going to parties, stuff like that. And he spent his free time. He was very into researching about technology, right? He was always a kid with the new iPhone, with the new iMac, MacBook, everything, right? Pretty affluent. And just from hanging around him, he started to get into, he started talking to me about this thing called Bitcoin. I'm just like, all right, Bitcoin, yeah, it's, digital currency. That's all I knew. Okay. As far as I knew, he was telling me about some digital currency that may or not be hot in the future. Right. But, I had enough trust, and I don't even know if he knows exactly how many I bought, but I ended up taking his advice from listening to him and finding out like how much would it cost to like get some Bitcoin. So I had some money at the time. I was working just a part-time job. I was in high school. I was my junior, senior year in high school, right? Getting ready to go into college. So I bought a few, right? So I honestly forgot about them. I forgot I even had them for a few years. I was in college, doing my thing, getting an education, getting a job, basically the same, the path that is so typical that we all get fed, right? It's just trying to get a job so, you can pay off the school loans that they got you to come in. It's this like weird paradox type of thing, So I was doing that. 2017 happens. I'm in DC doing a 3-month boot camp for software engineering. And I started to hear this buzz around that area. If you know, DC is very diverse, very up on news and very first to hear stuff, right? So I started to hear this buzz around Bitcoin. I'm like, I think I got some of that. So I had to go find my login stuff like that for my wallet. I'm like, oh, we looking good. And then the end of 2018 comes, I was like, well, we looking real good. We looking real good. So I was a little maximalist, right? I forgot about it. I was a little bit maximalist. I was like, yeah, I only know Bitcoin. You guys are talking to me about all these other altcoins. And by altcoins, I mean, you probably have heard of Ethereum and Litecoin, and there's so many different ones, right? So I was completely against all the other. I was like, I don't want to hear about that. I got Bitcoin, whatever, right? But I did start to get into buying them around the 2018 after the massive spike, the massive run up with Bitcoin. I was like, maybe I should get into the other one. So I bought and hold Bitcoin. The altcoins came later, waited for the price to kind of like come back down, buy into them again low. And right now in my portfolio, I have about 7 different altcoins, and I long-term hold them all. Sometimes I take a little bit of pieces of them and trade them. I try not to touch Bitcoin at all. And through this discussion, we'll probably find out why.
All right. You know what I mean? And also I was gonna say, because you just jumped in. So what's the biggest reason you decided to jump on the show and talk about it? Like what inspired you to be like, yes, I wanted to. I know it's through Clubhouse. Lance, Clubhouse is dope. I know you don't be fucked with it, but we found this guy right here through Clubhouse. But what like inspired you to reach out? Because I know Maccabee said he was on there and jump up. Like, yeah, I definitely want to jump up the show and drop knowledge. What was the reason?
Yeah, man. Yeah. So for the culture, I am 100% believer, and I have proof to back it up, which I'll share at some point on the show, I'm sure, that Bitcoin has the absolute potential to be the catalyst for wealth redistribution globally, and also catalyze the redefinition of what it means to do traditional banking and the traditional definition of what an asset-backed security is. And I think the only issue right now is that there's a very large gap of knowledge that's missing. And we're running in like an informational race right now where crypto is taking off. And the people who could really benefit from crypto are lacking in knowledge, meaning that we're going to play this catch-up game if we don't catch up right now. It's going to be too far ahead, because the development of Bitcoin and blockchain as a whole and these altcoins is continually moving forward and very, very fast. But if our knowledge base is so far behind, then by the time it gets the wake-up call where we say, oh, we need to learn about this, we've already missed so much opportunity in that time frame to really put ourselves in position to really capitalize on it and prepare for the future without getting left behind. So it's important to me to educate early rather than take a hard lesson later. Remember, I think at the beginning, it's like we all had lessons like we should have got in, right? So right now, we're just at this fence where we have a lot of individual retail adoption, meaning that individuals like me, like DYs, like Pablo, like Lance, we're just buying Bitcoin, or we're holding altcoins based off of the future potential that we know. But there's just as much as there's a gap between our knowledge and the future of Bitcoin. And, if we don't get in and we don't learn about it and study it and understand the benefits, the philosophical benefits and the monetary benefits of it now, we'll get left behind. Also, recently, we've discovered that there's a massive gap in even the corporate world of understanding about Bitcoin. The top level CEOs are not understanding the benefit or how to integrate Bitcoin in their portfolios. But this is all now starting to catalyze and start to change. And there was a recent call that happened on Wednesday that was like the pinnacle for starting like getting that machine moving and getting these C-level executives comfortable with, now we have a plan to adopt Bitcoin into our macroeconomic strategy, into our corporate governance, into everything. So I could talk about that too, but really the point of why I teach others is because I don't want anybody to be left behind, especially the culture when it comes to minority representation. And there's so many opportunities to jump in right now and build on. Whereas if you don't want to be left behind at this specific point. If you got left behind from 2013 up to now, you're still okay. It's still very, very early. But moving forward, as it gets to be more institutionalized and become more mature, that's not the time we're like, oh man, I'm so far. That's going to be a little bit too late. So we're at a really, really good point now. And I think it's really important to jump on these platforms, whatever platform I have, to be able to, give my voice to, whether it be Clubhouse, whether it be podcast, my own Instagram channel, my Facebook Live events that I put on. People need to know, especially our culture and our community. So
that's what's up. Lance referenced a couple episodes ago as far as being ahead of the curve that 50 Cent was taking cryptocurrency to buy his albums, and he did a great flip on it. And that's just seeing someone that saw the future of it, where all of us was like, why is he taking, go get your cash, bro? Like, I know Puncher was like, what? This is, he's stupid. Now we all look dumb.
Yeah.
What's the big, am I correct? You also have knowledge as far as stocks as well, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. Question for that was, what's the biggest mistake people make in investing in cryptocurrency and stocks, in your opinion?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say the biggest mistake in just investing in general is not having an idea of what risk management means. And by risk management, I mean assessing what I'm willing to put up to lose is proportional to my overall lifestyle, meaning that I am not getting overhyped about news or speculation to the point where I'm now putting my financial portfolio, right, whatever that be, putting myself in a financial like a bottleneck to say I'm on this teetering block of like, if it goes bad, then I'm losing such a significant amount of my money that it's now hurting my lifestyle. And then if it goes right, then so you play this game and you have to understand the risk reward. And of course, the bigger risk you take, of course, the more reward. But I would say the majority of times, and I'm talking just from investing and also trading, especially you see it in trading, that the people who end up in a really good position at the end are not the people who hit home runs. It's the people who are able to consistently hit these singles and continually have these incremental percentage increases in their portfolios, compounding that over time, every year, every 2 years, every 3 years. And when you have that longevity, you give yourself the ability to build wealth over time. And I'm not talking just like a couple 100,000. I'm talking like millions. And I think Pablo and I, we had a conversation. I think he heard me talk about that compounding and how powerful that can be, where you don't have to hit home runs and you take the pressure off yourself, and you don't have to expose yourself to a bunch of risk and worry about, well, Elon Musk tweet this next coin, tweet this, meme coin again, so that I can get another run up, or will Wall Street Bets call out another ticker symbol so I can jump on and get a pump right before they dump it. So if you really, really want to have long-term and even create generational wealth, it's going to depend on your level of discipline and your level of consistency. And that's pretty much it. The ones who end up blowing their accounts or doing something dumb are the ones who are trying, like I said, bulls can win, bears can win, but pigs get slaughtered in the market, right? So you don't want to be that pig. You want to just, and like I said, it doesn't really take that much time. I'm not talking like 10 years, 20 years. I'm talking like give it 2-3 years. You'll be able to see just with a little bit of consistency and discipline, you can compound where you are right now into something that will set you, your children, and their children up probably financially for the rest of their life.
Now I'm liking what I'm hearing. I got 2 more things and I'm gonna bounce it off to the next host.
Sure.
Yeah, dropping gems of knowledge right now. I hope y'all did what he said. Get that pen and paper out and listen to the lessons. What's the best way to invest in stocks and crypto, in your opinion?
Yeah, the best way is learn how to evaluate fundamentally and technically what you're investing in. And fundamentally, I mean, if it's a stock, understand the company, understand the profiles of the people who run the company, what their backgrounds are, what their philosophy is in terms of running a company, what they have invested in before it, how that's turned out, what their overall goal is. Understand how to read the balance sheet, the cash flow statement, understand their overall vision for the company and what partnerships they're looking to make. That is all so important. And when we talk about technicals, when you look at the chart, price chart, if you understand market structure and price action, you can start to see very like similar patterns that continue to appear on technical charts. And when I mean charts, I mean like you're literally looking at a chart and you have either you have these candlesticks here, which are giving you kind of like the overall story of price and where, and so you can speculate where price may go based off of past price. Because remember, the market is nothing but people like you and I, right? And making decisions on we are willing to buy here, we're not willing to buy here, we're willing to sell here, or we're not willing to sell here. So when you see the overall psychology of this market happen again and again and again around the same price points, you can start to evaluate, hey, at this price point, we know there's going to be some type of decision to be made, whether this price is going to go up or back down, right? So depending on what market structure, and I'm talking about technically right here, you can understand and kind of speculate where that price may go. You have options in your mind, right? But the worst way you can do it is by listening to someone or something without you doing your own due diligence and being like, because 9 out of 10 times, that person probably hasn't done their due diligence. And if you're going to listen, just make sure that they have. And I'm saying that, I highly encourage, number one, that you learn the skills yourself so you don't have to rely on anybody. I cannot preach self-reliability and independence when it comes to your money management and your investments yourself. And number two, if you're going to listen to someone, please, 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 please make sure that they've done their due diligence and you understand exactly why they're saying what they're saying or recommending you what they're recommending you. Absolutely. No matter whether it's stocks or crypto.
And then where I know everyone's about to write this, because it's a good question. Everyone's going to write this down on their pad or if they're texting themselves or whatever. What's the next biggest thing we should look out for as far as crypto or stocks?
Yeah. The next biggest thing to look out for, I would say, is NFTs. And what an NFT is a non-fungible token. So fungible, you might have seen it on like your plane ticket, like this ticket is non-fungible. So fungibility just means it can be exchanged for equal value, but it's not really like unique, right? It's very simple that like, the things we use every day, like say you have like $1, right? And that dollar is very unique. It has its own serial number on it and it still says in God we trust and everything like that, right? And saying like, if I give this dollar to Pablo, that there's still $1 that he can give back. It doesn't have to be the same dollar, but if he gives me $1 out of his pocket, it's equal value. So what non-fungible means is that if it's like a plane ticket, like if I want a plane ticket to go to Japan, like there's only one, that's a very specific, unique type of plane ticket for a very specific and unique type of like travel to a location. So you can't give me anything that's equal to that other than that ticket for that seat at that time on that plane to go to that destination. It's not very, you can't trade it for anything. It's very special, right? So why I say NFTs is because what's happening in the digital space is when you have something that can be used as rare. So what's happening now in this NFT space is people are using digital art and digital collectibles and even digital assets for gaming to be uniquely stored and have ownership in these tokens. And they can't be exchanged for anything else because it's so unique. There's like, if you have a Picasso painting, right? Let's say like back then, like we had NFTs, non-fungible tokens in the time of Picasso, right? And Picasso put his painting on a token. There's nothing you can exchange for that. That's one of one. It's unique. And why I say this is the future is because it's already integrated into some of the largest kind of like corporations and well-known corporations that we know right now. The NBA has a program, NBA Top Shot, where they're already selling digital collectibles. And I'm going to go over two things right here with this NFT in its terms of basketball. So they sell these digital collectible, this NFT, and each one of it is limited edition and it's guaranteed by the blockchain. And maybe we can go over blockchain at some other point. But what it is a player's specific moment. So let's say if it was Kobe Bryant, right? So Kobe Bryant's last shot or Kobe Bryant's last game is held as a digital asset in this NFT. It's one of one. There's only one Kobe Bryant's last game. There's only one Kobe Bryant's last shot. So think about the bidding to have the rights to anybody who wants to use that video, that asset that is originated from the NBA, but is now being sold. And they know that this is such a pinnacle, such a defining moment in NBA history. The bidding war for this is going to go through the roof. And once you own that moment is a licensed collectible from the NBA, and you have complete ownership over it. That means that anybody who wants to reproduce or redistribute that has to go through you legally. So you're now getting the ability to own digital assets that are only going to, depending on what you have, is going to increase in value based off of how rare they are. So they can't be exchanged for anything. So another thing is even something very like, I don't want to say stupid, but already being done in gaming. Like I'll just let you know. There's this, I think it's called Cryptokitties. I think I had it up. Cryptokitties is a game where players can collect and breed digital cats. So back in 2018, there was one specific cat that was sold for 600 Ethereum. And at that time, it was $170,000. So it's not a matter of, if it's going to be hot. It's already hot. It's already being done. The UFC already has officially partnered with this company called Flow. And Flow is managing the NFTs. And they're the same company that's partnered with Flow, that's partnered with the UFC, is also the one who made the NBA Top Shot app. And the next arena they're coming into is the NFL. So these digital collectibles, there's no longer going to be cards anymore. There's going to be digital assets, these videos, whether it be 15-second clips with full sound and everything like that. Even, I'll put it to you this way. Now that we're getting into the space of NCAA now not being able to monetize, or they're going to have to start paying athletes. That's a conversation, right? There's already companies that are there to start putting these moments in March Madness or specific games into these NFTs so that the students can capitalize on them. So even in retrospect, if Syracuse University wanted to use a clip from Carmelo in the NCAA tournament from however long ago, whoever owns that right, they have to contact it, whether it be Melo, whether it be whoever owns that NFT for that clip or whatever they want to use for their promo on their board at their home games, they have to go talk to the person who owns the rights to that specific moment. So it's really, really important moving forward that as athletes come in professionally and through collegiate, that they're going to be literally have the ability to own their moments and then monetize them. Artists, same way, music, digital artistry. So, it's going to help protect against illegal reproduction. It's going to protect them from being distributed without them being able to monetize it. And it's going to protect them a lot in the space of, I don't say like if it's writing, then plagiarism, right? So you have a protected way for artists, for athletes, for gamers, for these whole different spaces to have these digital assets and make money not only one time, but if you want to, every time that because it's a blockchain, every time that digital asset gets shared or gets resold, you can still have a contract to get a percentage of that as a residual coming in. So there's so much room for profitability in this NFT space across so many different industries. I only just covered sports, art, and gaming, stuff like that, but across multiple different industries. So I would say the next thing coming up is NFTs.
Man, yeah, thanks for the knowledge. And last thing for on the Lions side, you're originally from Philly, correct?
I lived in Philly the past like maybe 8-9 years, but I'm originally from Pittsburgh, so a little bit west in Pennsylvania.
Okay, I got you. Well, since you're from Philly, question on the Lions side, because this is what everybody wants to know. That you got Geno's, Pat's, or Jim's? What's the best steak, Philly chicks, Philly cheesesteak?
Even though they're the most famous, honestly, they're not the best. What I say, if you come to Philly, you should definitely get one. If you're with two people, send one person to Pat's, send one person to Geno's, cut it in half and swap so you can each sample both. But honestly, I like Max's, and for real, some of the corner stores, some of the poppy stores on the corner, they honestly have some of the best like homemade Philly cheesesteaks and chicken cheesesteaks for that matter. So I'm sorry, passenger, I can't give you any free press here. I would say, go there, but just for the experience, they're not holding it down with the best one, because there's once you get commercialized like that, like you really don't have to care about
like all the rappers and R&B cats were dancing in Geno's because all the bright lights and stuff. So I got you. Yeah. All right, whoever's next, man.
Go ahead, Lance. Go take it away.
All right, yeah, man. We done had a whole lot of knowledge dropped already. I done had to mark off like 10 questions. I'm gonna be honest with you. But how do you feel about taking partials on Bitcoins?
Taking partials? I mean, like not buying the full Bitcoin?
Yeah, not buying the full Bitcoin. Because I know some people are getting together to get full Bitcoins, but there's been talk lately I'll say in just a circle that I talked to, talking about just buying their partials and just stacking it as they go. How do
Yeah.
you feel about that?
Yeah. Any way you can get in the game of Bitcoin, I don't care how much it is, whether it be $10, $100, $1,000, whatever you can get in Bitcoin, please get in. And why I say that, and I'm going to go back to the call that happened yesterday, but there was a CEO, Michael Saylor of MicroStrategy. Their ticker symbol was MSTR on the NASDAQ exchange. This is a $500 million a year revenue company. Their stock price is trading above 730 or something like that. Some change. They're doing extremely well this year. Their company, as a NASDAQ traded company, making $500 million in revenue, all of their liquid reserves, meaning that all of their reserve assets, meaning the stuff that's backing their employees' payroll and their benefits, stuff like that, is in Bitcoin. They moved it to Bitcoin. They invested $1.12 billion in Bitcoin in 2020 alone, and they just bought 10 million more in Bitcoin. There's over 70,000 Bitcoins that MicroStrategy owns. He hosted an event yesterday called Bitcoin for Corporations, where he literally laid out the complete playbook on how corporations and C-level executives can utilize the powers and benefits of blockchain, and especially around Bitcoin, in their corporations, which they didn't have before. And you could tell that there is such a major gap between what these CEOs knew about Bitcoin, how it could be leveraged. I mean, he went, and not even just the philosophical ways behind it, because he went all the way into, imagine a world where you don't pay credit card merchant fees anymore, because on the blockchain, there's no merchant. It's literally, it's a P2P network, it gets verified, and you're not there's no merchant in between. It's decentralized, right? So not only that, but also the security of that. So the security is when you swipe that card and it's a credit card, it's giving so much information. It's giving your card number, the security code, and your name, the expiration date. Even when you think about it, we're so used to it, we give it over the phone. But you think about how there's how much the security kind of like exploit there is to give your stuff like that much information about access to your banking over the phone. We play trust so easily when giving our credit, but when a blockchain, and especially Bitcoin or altcoin, that's the real benefit of it, especially in terms of keeping your clients, keeping your customers' information secure, already produces value. When you only have a block of info or a transaction, it only gives you who's sending it, who's receiving it, and the amount. That's the only thing that's going to be outwardly displayed. The other stuff is just hashes at the highest level of cryptography, which is going to kind of like, it's going to shield like potential hackers from getting the most important information. It would take a very, very long time to crack that hash. And a hash is just like one of the highest levels of cryptography. It keeps all the other data safe, right? So just the level of security alone and decentralization from going through a single point of failure to verify transactions just monetarily, whether your customers be buying something or selling something on your platform, that's one. But he went through the entire explanation of P&L strategies, profit and loss strategies, and all the way to the balance sheet strategies that they use. And why I say that's so important for Bitcoin and the price of Bitcoin and altcoins is because we talk about this here on this level and on Clubhouse, but they need to hear it on that level. The corporations, in order to see this price really take off, when they start to pour in, and there was another person, Ross Stevens, on there. He has 290, he went to his order book, 295 private and public companies asking him, or not asking, but he's actively managing $6 billion worth of their funds in order to invest in Bitcoin. He's the asset manager for 295 corporations, companies, both private and public. He's being in charge of their investment in their companies into Bitcoin with a projection of $25 billion in 5 years. And he has 95 other companies also. So it's not a matter of if Bitcoin's going to take, it is going to take off. It's just taking now. That's why I said we're on the fence right here, where it's time to get in, because now that corporations have more confidence hearing it from, $500 million revenue company CEOs, why and also how to invest, and giving it detail for detail. And I can give you the link for the actual event. It's an unlisted YouTube video, and I can share that link if I can drop it to you, Pablo, or DYS, or whoever, so that anybody who's listening can actually watch it. It's 3 sessions. It was on Wednesday. It's about 5 hours long, but it's packed with value. But the overall point is this: when corporations finally get on board publicly and start integrating, I think there was information that came out. If S&P 500 companies, if they only invested 5% into Bitcoin in their company portfolios, it would double the price of Bitcoin. At 10%, Bitcoin would increase $400,000. So it's not a matter of if, it's when. And like, you don't want to be the one not holding Bitcoin, because that's a ticket to the bag coming up in the future. And when they're also talking about it being a treasury-backed security, meaning that we're not talking about gold standard anymore. We're not talking about assets being backed by real estate. We're talking about assets being backed by Bitcoin, which is only going to ever be 21 million of them. So what do you think that, so he gave this example. If I had to invest $100 million into an asset, I like to evaluate the value of that investment 100 years into the future. The US dollar from 1913 to even 2013 has only decreased in value about 2% because of inflation every single year. Right now, the purchasing power of the US dollar is at 5 cents, or it was at 5 cents in 2013. I don't even want to get into what it is now. So also that leads into, and I don't know if you want to talk about traditional banking and stuff like that, but you have to be moving your money into places that's going to give you the ability to not only beat inflation, but win in terms of compounding your interest. So I'll leave it there. I don't know if you want me to get into more of that. I think it's an important topic, but I'll stop.
No, definitely. I want you to get into the whole thing.
Yeah.
Me and DYs were just talking earlier. It's like, man, like we always trust the bank with our money, but what is the bank doing for us? It's
yeah.
Like our money is just sitting there. And, if you don't have direct deposit or paying a monthly fee, it's like, what are they doing for you? They're basically taking your money and investing for themselves.
Right.
Your money, and when you're just having your maybe $10,000, $5,000, $20,000 pretty much sitting there. And also too, I just want also to the viewing audience to know, like, like money is a reserve note and it's not backed by any gold or anything. So, why is it important? Like, people are like, well, I trust in cash, or I trust in this dollar, and I feel that this digital currency is like, what if somebody steals it, or what if the value is no longer? Like, I want you to explain, like, why is it better to have digital currency over this, this deflation dollar?
Right. And this goes back to, this is exactly what he said. So he said that I don't know what the US dollar is going to do tomorrow or the next week, but he knows, he said, and this is the CEO, Michael Saylor of MicroStrategy. He said that I know for a fact in the next 10 to 20 years, the value of the US dollar will decline at a rapid pace. So the reason why he's backing his assets in his company with Bitcoin is because of that scarce supply of Bitcoin gives it the uniqueness to only increase in value, because the less there is and the more that can gets mined, it gets owned. For people to actually gain control over it, it's going to become very competitive. And when you have competitive, people are willing to pay higher prices. It's only going to drive the price up. And because for the rest of time, there's only going to be a certain fit. Imagine how high that specific asset's going to go, right? So going to the bank is the biggest scam of all time. I'll tell you why. Imagine DYs, Drew, Pablo, and Lance. We would start a business together, right? But we need money. Who do we go to?
Bank.
We go to a bank, right? We go to a bank. But let's say like there wasn't any banks, right? So we would probably need to ask our friends and family. Before we go to the bank, we ask our friends and family, right? Now they give us the money and they just do it out of like, faithfulness, right? But imagine this. We ask maybe people who aren't our family for money to fund our project. What do you think they're going to ask in return?
They're going to want, if you ask me for money, I don't know you like that.
You want a return.
I'm going to need your firstborn. But no, like, yeah, you're going to want some, definitely like a high amount of return. Like, you're going to have to double it. Like, you know what I mean? You're going to sign the paper like, yeah. I'm gonna
something. If you watch Shark Tank, you can see exactly what these people in these positions are asking for, right? A percentage of the company or some like debt, right? So when you go to a bank, when you give them your money, what do?
They don't give you anything back in return.
Don't they invest it?
And all banks take all the money and invest into whatever their best interest is.
Exactly. So it's like we just got a pool of money, but what do we get in return in terms of asset or secured asset or collateral back?
All you really get is a higher interest on the money you took out.
They have created like the biggest system in the world to let average people and even above average to pool their money to fund their activities without giving them any type of collateral back except for, oh, your money will be here when you get back. Yeah. In what world would we ever accept, hey, yeah, I'll give you like pretty much the majority of the money that I work 40 hours a week for and not give you any type of, I not want any collateral back. Shoot, even when you rent some skates from the local skate rink, don't they require you to give me your ID, give me something so that I know you're going to come back, right? Mm-hmm. But we willingly give our money that we work 40, 60, 80 hours a week for to the bank. They go and do all their activities as far as lending that money out, or whatever bank activities they participate in. They're making 15, 20%, and they give you 0.5% annually back. And the guarantee that your money will be here when you ask for it.
That's nuts.
I'm blowing when you actually really
think if the bank was a daycare, it'd be the worst daycare of all time, because you're taking, like, if your children was your money, you take it there, they do just enough for you to for your child to stay alive. You know, you work at home, right? You take care, your job and your focus is to make sure your child grows, right? You're feeding it, you're doing everything you can, working slave for the child. And then, you know, you give your child over to the bank and they take your child's cookies, they take all the snacks from it, and they lend it out to the other kids, and they take all the snacks, and then they do their job, and they got more snacks, and like, oh, and then we'll feed your child a little crumb, make sure he's still alive by the time you come back and get it.
And I know people that give the banks, like, they have a lot of money in a bank account, and the FDIC sometimes only gives you, like, only insurance is $100,000 of it. So yeah. if you're not smart enough to know the game, and like, I need to open up different bank accounts, which a lot of people don't know game because we're bank illiterate. Like, we don't know what's up. People put all their money in there and say, oh, I can live off, because the old school saying used to be, if I put $1 million in the bank, I can live off interest alone for the $1 million in the bank, but only 100,000. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah. It's insured. So if something happens tomorrow, that's your ass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's just the only knowledge like I got coming up. Like, yeah, no, if you take that, the interest alone, like the million, blah, 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 like, okay, you're like, oh, okay, this is before crypto and all the other things was going on, the knowledge of other things, but you'll get destroyed if you do that if something goes wrong with the bank, because it's like, okay, well, you gave me $1 million, but FDIC, oh, well, here's 100,000 back. What about the other 900,000? Like, oh yeah, you know, we only insured 100,000 of that bread. So, right. Yeah, you're right. It's a huge game.
So Pablo likes this analogy, but I tell everybody all the time, treat your money like a relationship, right? Mm-hmm. In a relationship, you know, Pablo, you got a relationship and your lady, right? You got a lady. I don't know if you have a lady or not, or a couple ladies or whatever, but you know, if you're in a relationship and you're a man that's, you know, you're not really ambitious, right? You're not really looking for a job. You're kind of like, you know, you're kind of lazy, right? You sit at home and you play 2K all day, whatever. I'm sorry if anybody's getting attacked right now, but your woman is a really good woman. She hustles. She has a great job. She's gone through school. Maybe she's going through school while she's in a job, and she's taking care of all her stuff, all her bills, her car note. She has her own home place, own home, own apartment. She's doing her thing, and she comes. She cooks great meals, everything. She's doing everything. She's busting her butt, right? In terms of her. And she comes home to you and you're just sitting around doing anything. How's she going to feel about you? Right. So women don't accept that, and men don't accept that as terms of their partner and their physical, like interpersonal relationship. But that's what we accept from our money when we give it to the bank, to let it just literally sit there and do nothing. And when you have a one-sided relationship like that, even between people, it's always going to end up in failure. So when you work 40 hours a week, going to your job, and some of you may like your job, some of you may not. And whatever you have to deal with, whether you're manager or your boss, or you're traveling long distances, and you come home, you're tired and you don't want to go, but you still do it anyway. You cannot give your money that you're earning by giving your time and your life a free pass to just sit there and do nothing. You can't do that. That's not, you have to put that money to work, because here's the thing about money. When you put it to work, it never gets tired, and it never takes a day off, and it will never complain to you that it's being treated unfair. It will never complain to you that it's working too hard, too many hours, or it needs a vacation. But that's why you need to put it to work. You cannot be working harder than your money is, because when you think about I'm sorry if I offend anybody, the relationship of a master and a slave, you can tell what position you're in by how hard your opposite side is working. If your money is not working and you are, guess what you are to your money?
Slave.
If your money is working harder than you are, guess what you are now?
The master.
You have now mastered your financial life. You have now mastered your money. And it doesn't take much. That's why I talk about crypto. I talk about Forex, I talk about stocks, is because it only takes, and an example I use all the time, is just with $1,000 investment. If you're able to have enough understanding about the markets, getting into trading or just being able to exchange crypto coins to compound what that account is, $1,000, 1% every trading day. Now, I'm not even talking about 365 days. I'm just going to talk about trading days because I just have a trading mind. If you do 270 days, I'm leaving out national holidays, bank holidays, and I'm leaving out weekends, Monday through Friday, 1% for 3 years. So 810 days. At the end of only 3 years, you will be over $3 million if you can consistently, with discipline, be able to compound that money, put that money in a place where it can compound 1% every day for 3 years. If you fall short and do 0.5%, you're still at what, 1.5 million? That's why I'm saying the opportunity cost of you letting your money sit in a bank where it's literally decreasing value and letting the bank make money off of your back has to be the worst, other than burning your money to shreds. It has to be one of the worst ways to treat your money, letting it be lazy. If you wouldn't accept it out of a human being, you wouldn't accept it out of your partner, you wouldn't accept it out of your friends, don't accept it from your money, because every time you do that, you're always going to be a slave to your money. You want to get to the point where now you're mastering your money and you're making your living off of just moving your money, telling your money where to go. I'm moving my money from this crypto to that crypto. I'm moving my money from this account to that account because I know it's going to compound. This has the highest potential growth yield for today or in this week. And you're literally sitting back saying, I'm telling you where to go. So that's the position you want to be in. That's how you master your money. That's how you get a grip on your financial relationship. That's how you take dominance over your financial life.
Hey, anybody else feel like Drew's making this shit sound too easy? I feel like a sucker on some shit. Like, damn, my money been in that bank system for a minute. Yeah, I've been the slave for so long. It's got me fucked up. Nah, that's what's up, man. Like, and then even how you're breaking it down is just very understandable too. So that's what's up. Damn.
All right, so I got $1,000 right now. Should I be looking to go all into Bitcoin, or should I be looking into some of these up and coming coins, like maybe the Ethereum, like you said, or maybe the Litecoin?
I don't think with Bitcoin and Ethereum you can go wrong with either one. I think they're both going to have a lot of growth, especially this year. A lot of the altcoins are stemmed, or they're being tracked. They're tracking Ethereum, right? And the network, Ethereum network, right? So they all have a stake in how Ethereum does. And there's a lot of integration with these NFTs and stuff like that, or, like I mentioned, a lot of these companies are creating their networks that it's tracking Ethereum. But I will always say that you should definitely have the majority of your money in Bitcoin, just because of, like I stated about, the meeting and the corporate, that's what they're talking. That's what the corporate, so they can move that price with their level of money, because they're talking billions of dollars of investment inside of Bitcoin. And they also have a financial interest to the people who are funding their funds and the people who are funding and their shareholders, to make sure that they're getting a valid return if they're taking this risk on investing in Bitcoin. So I'm going to say that Bitcoin is going to move forever into higher price ranges. So I would say go all in on Bitcoin for now. Study about the other coins. I'm just saying you can never go wrong with investing in Bitcoin in the long term.
Okay.
So in your opinion, like you said, he had 1,000. So, and if you said, so he should put his whole 1,000 in Bitcoin, or should you put $900 in Bitcoin and $100 into the other things? If it was your 1,000, how would you do it? You'd be like, man, bump the other two right now, all 1,000 in that, or would you put 950 in Bitcoin and then?
No, I'd be pretty safe and confident with saying I would drop it all into Bitcoin.
Okay.
And you're still going to end up right now. I mean, Bitcoin is doing over 200% every single year. So, I mean, you may miss out on something, but are you really missing out on 200% a year? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what are you really missing out? Maybe 1 month, one does 60% of the other, but overall, Bitcoin ain't lacking behind anybody. So.
Okay. Now,
I wish I would have talked to you. I wish I would have talked to you a week ago.
I wish I would have talked to me. Yeah.
Now, how do you feel about the safety and all of that, involving all the currencies being digital and all that? Because we had a story. I think it was maybe 2 episodes ago,
Yeah.
where a guy had 2 more chances to get into his box.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was nuts. We haven't had an update about it since, but is that something, that kind of security, something you would invest in, or is it just completely unnecessary?
Yeah. So, like I said, only because of the rarity, and like I said, there's only going to be a fixed amount of them move. So right now, there's not really too much shady stuff going on with people trying to snatch Bitcoin yet, right? But because it's scarcity, just imagine, look at gold, and how many people try to like even in. I don't even think we recovered the majority of gold. I mean, that was stolen in World War II, but like Bitcoin, once this gets to a certain time, it's people are really going to come after, and if they know how much you hold, they're going to come after you. So, there's different ways. So right now, there's these client-side tools, such as like you may have heard of Exodus or Jax or MetaMask. Like there's different ways, right? So this is a wallet. This is a digital wallet, and unlike Coinbase and like stuff like Gemini and Kraken, right? Who are just sending funds from that account to you, right? You're in control. So what I mean, like you're in control, is that on Coinbase and these other exchanges, if they get hacked, your Bitcoin or your digital assets are at risk, because you don't actually physically, like you don't have a ledger. And when I mean ledger, if you understand Bitcoin, a ledger is the verified transactions of every single transaction on the blockchain, meaning the transaction came before that and the transaction came before that. So that ledger, those recorded transactions need to be verified by multiple people in the same network. It has to be aligned, right? And the only one that's aligned can they say, okay, you are verified to have what you say you have, right? And no one can tell you any different. So when you have a wallet, you get keys and you control your keys. And that's the upside, is that you have personal control over that all over your digital assets. But the downside is if you lose that, like you just mentioned, if you lose that key, then you're kind of burned, right? But when you take it offline, and you can do cold storage, meaning you have like a Ledger wallet, right? Then you can take it offline. Exodus is a good way to hold it online, right? I recommend, and my mentors recommend, don't hold it on your phone and don't screenshot it, because if your phone gets hacked, they can access the keys from your photo. Even if you think you deleted the screenshot, they can still go in and recover that, right? So it's best to have the desktop version if possible, to have, like, if you're doing an Exodus digital wallet, write your keys down. I can't remember off the top of my head what the name of the notebook is, but there's a fireproof and waterproof notebook that's specifically made for hosting, for you writing down your crypto keys, so that no matter if your house burns down or you like it will withstand that. They made it specifically for this. I'll try to find it and drop it to you guys so you can post a link. But that's one way, right? The wallet. So both digital wallet and hard wallet, our cold storage, is you're taking your actual assets, your Bitcoins, into your control. And that's good, because if, like I said, if it gets hacked, that exchange, Coinbase or Gemini or whoever gets, Bittrex or Kraken gets hacked, and you don't have to worry about what happens to your stuff. You own it, but don't lose your stuff. But the exchange like Coinbase and Gemini and Kraken, I don't necessarily see anything happening in the near future, but there's always a possibility. I'm not saying you should be afraid of them. They're all very stable, and they're all aware of the future of Bitcoin and altcoins. I am absolutely sure they are doing everything they can to secure their application, desktop and mobile app, to make sure that their clients and their customer bases who are trusting them don't have any vulnerabilities, right? But when you have an account with them, you're buying and exchanging through Coinbase and Gemini and Kraken and Bittrex, it's very easy. It's very user friendly. Like, you don't have to worry about remembering your codes. They hold your wallet keys for you. All you have to do is have your login, username, password. If you use two-factor authentication, then you could do that. But it's very hands off in terms of you don't really own your keys. They're managing that for you. And so it's just better. It's easier for someone who's getting into it off the bat. So if I was someone new, the exchange is fine. Use the Coinbase, use the Kraken, use Gemini to get your coins. Once you start accumulating a decent amount of coins, I'm talking like significant, like once you start to be able to, like, I got a couple, six-figure or even high 5 figures, 6 figures, 7 figures. That's the time to be like, all right, I start looking at options. I would say before that, once you start nearing that upper 5, 6-figure range of your tokens, start to look to take it offline, at least some of it. Right. So also, if you choose to move from an exchange to a wallet where you control your keys, you just need to make sure that you have multiple backups and stored in like separate locations too, of your private keys, so, and your recovery phrases. And that's only to prevent the loss in case your computer crashes or your house burns down or anything like that. So you want to keep redundant backups, and you just want to, you want to put yourself in the best position to not lose those keys if you're going to do a wallet. But with the exchange, it's pretty easy to manage your stuff. So starting off, do an exchange. You got a lot, go to a wallet.
Okay. Hopefully right now the viewing audience is kind of very interested about getting into crypto at this point. If you could just break down a quick step on how to, purchase crypto, like, crypto.com is good. If Gemini, Kraken, because you did mention some of these, which one that you prefer, and then from there, you're kind of saying you should probably definitely try to get a piece of a Bitcoin if you can, and we also mentioned Ethereum as well.
Yeah.
And then from there, moving over to a warm or hot wallet, like you mentioned Exodus, and I know there's a couple other ones because I've been paying attention to all these rooms and clubhouses, learning myself. So, hopefully I'm doing everything right. I'm gonna get with you right after this interview. It's just hopefully that I'm on the right path. So if you could just break down really quick, if people are interested in getting into Bitcoin, like what is the first step they need to do? Download something, how to properly download it, if it's to a phone or to a to their computer directly, to process authentication, stuff like that. So
sure, yeah. Download Coinbase or Gemini. They both of them have mobile apps, and go through their sign up process. They'll ask you to connect either your debit card or bank account in order to start buying whatever Bitcoin or altcoin that you choose. Go through that. Move your money from that bank into the account. Purchase. You can purchase Bitcoin. It's very simple. Tap on the BTC ticker. So the price. It'll have how much you want to buy. Throw in the amount. Keep it there. If you want to buy other altcoins, it's the same process. It's very, very visually and user friendly. It's very, very simple. So you could do it that way. If you do decide to do a hard wallet, buy it directly from the manufacturer. Yeah. Do not play around with other third party, because what you may be getting has been already compromised. It may be setting you up to track your keys. They may be setting up to record your keys and send them off somewhere else into the hands of someone who wants to exploit your crypto. Buy it directly from the manufacturer. Some people say Amazon. No. Even if it's directly from Amazon, no. Go directly to www.manufacturer who's sending me this ledger.com, whoever that is. Rather be, they have the Ledger wallet or Trezor. I can give you those links too. Go directly to their site and buy it directly from them. In terms of if you want to do a digital wallet, just download Exodus desktop. Don't play around with the mobile app, because like I gave you the reasons why mobile, if you don't play around with the mobile. Because if you sell your phone or something like that and those files still in there, it's possible they can get that. So desktop.
One other question. Desktop, should we use switching up the VPN or?
Yes. VPN to protect, especially if you're doing a digital wallet. Exchange, it's hard to say because Exchange is web host. Both are going to be web hosts, but you can take your digital wallet offline. You can just literally have it. I know somebody that I know has a separate computer that only is dedicated to holding his digital wallet. He connects it when he needs to transfer. He connects it to the network whenever he needs to transfer crypto from wherever, whether Exchange or a different wallet into digital wallet into that one. And he just unplugs it and that's it. So you can do it that way too.
Okay. I'm setting my account up right now.
Yo, man, I'm happy to hear that. Yo, I've been telling both of them about crypto maybe last week. Like, man, I've been in these rooms and I've been learning a lot and taking a lot of notes. And I really don't get excited about anything, but crypto kind of just got me a little excited. I'm not gonna lie. And so like every chance I get, I'll be with my daughter and I'm like, man, I'm trying to listen to Clubhouse with my headphones in, and You know, like I heard you speak today in the room, in one of the crypto rooms today. And it's just like, man, it's just like I feel like this is definitely a time that, you know, sometimes you're like, man, I wish I would have got a house during the housing crisis. I wish I would have
Right.
known about you know, that Facebook or whatever stocks was gonna whatever. And I just like feel like, man, I probably actually made it right on time for something, you know, that's going to pay off within the next 4 to 20 years, you know, depending on what altcoins that I purchase and with Bitcoin and whatever. And hopefully, you know, we're building generational wealth and actually able to actually celebrate. You know, so,
Like I thought, and I'm thankful and I'm grateful that you came on, because like, you know, certain things like when you hear about it, because I feel like the conversation about Bitcoin is now in so many formats, and by the time in life when everyone's talking about it, it's already too late. That's how things usually go. So the fact you came and talked to the audience and be like, nah, y'all still good, you know, jump into that shit. That's what's up. You feel what I'm saying? Because I know a lot of people and even fans that's watching like, damn, yeah, you know, I missed the train. But like the fact that you're telling these people like, no, guys, like you guys are still there, jump in there, you know, go in on Bitcoin, this and that. It's cool because they can give people that were on the fence some hope to be like, you know what, it wasn't too late. Let me go jump in there. And that's what's up. So I appreciate that.
Speaking of other countries too, someone brought a great point in a call earlier. I don't know how many of your viewers are maybe immigrants and maybe have family back home, but it's a lot of times we're used to sending like Western Union, and that incurs fees in that, like maybe a minimum amount, right?
yeah.
But if you imagine, if you send Bitcoin, it's way less fees, it's faster, and also to introduce that country or your family to start getting into Bitcoin or crypto is a very, very positive thing to begin them on, right? Because it's going to go up in value. When you send Western Union, right, it's just but here, hold some Bitcoin, right? Maybe send them enough that they can take out where they be like, listen, I'm going to trust you enough to hold this other part of it, right?
Yeah.
But it's actually a good point.
Question: how do you go about gifting somebody a cryptocurrency? Because since like, you know, I registered, you know, with my driver's license,
Right.
and passport, and whatever, and
Right.
like, you know, I do have family in other countries, and it's like, you know, they may not have the money to start with crypto. And I'm like, hey, look, I just want to gift you $50 worth of Bitcoin. They'll probably be like, what is this? I'd rather you have send me $50. But
Right. Right. So I
want
agree
to
with it.
that investment, be like, look, you'll thank me later. So
No, absolutely. I highly encourage the normalization of graduation parties, birthday parties, holiday parties, giving crypto instead of Jordans and other material BS that's going to depreciate over time. And they'll thank you so much later when in the next 5 years or so when they actually appreciate it. But have them download the same app you do. Okay. The only reason why I say is because it's going to be easier for you to explain to them how to get to their address. And that's really all you need. Can you send me this X amount of, you know, character address, text it to me or whatever. And then once you get it from them, and everybody has their own unique address for their wallet or exchange, then you can use that to send whatever amount of Bitcoin, altcoin, whatever you're sending them. Yeah. So if you do that, you should be fine. You can walk them through the same steps as you did to download it, to sign up, and how to you can send it to them. It's just, you can walk them to where they can get the address and send it to you. Use the address, send them the actual digital asset to them.
So based on everything I done heard today, it sounds like that the football player that took his $12 or $15 million salary in Bitcoin, he sounds like a genius.
Yes.
How do you? Yeah.
Yes.
And that money will just grow. He literally can just sit that money there and not touch it, and that money will just grow 200% on average a year.
Yes.
It's outrageous.
Another thing I want to say to the viewing audience, I had this conversation with Lance earlier. I'm like, you know, sometimes when it comes to investing in yourself, like, you know, like I'm a type of person and I like to go out to eat. I like to go to restaurants all the time. I like steakhouses and stuff. And, you know, I could always justify spending, you know, $200 on going out to eat. And then sometimes I love to get free information off the internet, like YouTube and Google. And then I will refuse to pay like $9 for a damn ebook that would probably tell me Bitcoins. I'm like, yo, why am I like this? And I know I'm talking to somebody that's out there right now that's probably like, yo, I'm about to go waste X amount of money on a Louis Vuitton belt or you know, on food, you know, like, yo, just go to Chipotle, have a $10 meal today, and go ahead and just take $50 and put it in Bitcoin and thank 25/8 the culture and Drew later. Like, you feel me?
Everybody thank Drew.
So I'm like, you know, like, yo, it's like, and you know, listening to other like mentors and stuff is like, yo, you know, like you have to sometimes get a mentor. No, not sometimes. You need a mentor, or invest in, you know, books and materials and videos and seminars, and having somebody, you know, teach you the game, because sometimes you spend so much time trying to figure it out yourself when you just could have called Drew, and then, you know, he'll be like, yo, this is whatever, and I can go ahead and teach you this, and you just got to pay for the game. And then it's like, but you're going to benefit quicker, faster, you know, go through less, you know, trials and tribulations and get to the bag quicker. You feel me? And I feel like sometimes, like, you know, we're always trying to figure out stuff for super free or for the cheap or whatever, stuff like that. But sometimes you just got to invest in yourself. Remember, like, invest in yourself, healthy food, invest in yourself, you know, reading and taking the time to study. You know, also what you mentioned, Drew, that is like to do stuff yourself, like, you know, learning stocks yourself and stuff like that. So I was like, man, you know, because, you know, I've been approached about Forex before, and, you know, I kind of like the whole cloning thing, because I'm a person that doesn't have that much time. You know, I have my daughter, I have the podcast, you know, I got to do a bunch of stuff. So I'm like, look, I'd rather pay you so I can just clone off of you. But like, yeah, cloning is good for the beginning, but you're going to want to have to learn how to do it yourself, you know? So, but I feel like, you know, you mentioned that you have a mentor yourself, and you seem very well educated in your field. You seem like you know exactly what you're talking about, you know, about who's getting into Bitcoin, why it's going to be beneficial, and why you should do it. So I really appreciate you coming on the show today. And, you know, and I would love to have you back for a part 2, 3, because I know this will get very, you know, very detailed into understanding other parts of cryptocurrency and stuff like that. So I really appreciate you having on the show today.
Yeah, Drew, you might make Thursdays be educational Thursdays with Drew.
Crypto Talk Thursdays.
Yeah, guys, I appreciate you guys again having me on, give me the space to talk. I mean, it's all for educational purposes, all to just increase the knowledge base of our culture and the areas, because it's not being taught formally in schools. You know, you have to come to places like this and just have the open conversation and just have the willingness to share with the person next to you. So, you know, whoever's listening, I'm glad you guys are listening. You're already in the correct mindset to want to know and want to learn and want to get into it. And just all I ask is that you just share whatever you know or whatever you receive from this, just share it with the next person, whether it be your family, your friends, their friends, your coworkers, because it's really an opportunity for us all to eat and all to change the financial landscape moving forward, where we don't have to be the ones at the bottom anymore.
Facts.
Before we sign out, I just want you to, you know, to let the audience know where they can find you, your Instagram, emails. Definitely, I'm gonna put that in the description below, and so
yes,
connect with you.
Yes, so you can find me Instagram. Actually, all my handles are at Drew2Smooth, Instagram, Snapchat. I don't have Twitter yet, but because of Clubhouse, they're gonna make me get a Twitter. Yeah, I've been on Clubhouse. If you're on Clubhouse, at Drew2Smooth. On Facebook, you can just look me up, Drew, D-R-E-W, Dandrea, D-A-N-D-R-E-A, Philadelphia, PA. And yeah, just follow me. I do live events. I have a live event tomorrow, which is the future of crypto, which is basically covering the same thing. Maybe we'll go maybe a little bit more detail about the future of crypto, just based off of what's happened in the past couple of weeks. You can join that at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You'll just be hearing me speak about the same topic, and, you know, just giving the same thing I'm giving to you to people in my circle. So yeah, go follow me on all the social media platforms at Drew2Smooth.
Yo, so we're gonna sign out right now. I'm your boy DJ Pablo McAbee from 25/8 The Culture. 25 hours in a day, 8 days in a week. All grind, no sleep. Peace.
Yo, this boy DY, you know what it is. I want to highlight this and say, like Drew said, fuck them Jordans, all Bitcoin. All right, do that. DY is out. 1.
It's your boy, Lance. Nobody's podcast. Appreciate you coming through, dropping them gems. 258 The Culture. So you get that hot shit first. Holla at us.
Hey, don't forget to like and subscribe. Right there, you see that button, that little, you know what I'm saying, thumbs up. Give us that like, you know what I'm saying? Subscribe, 25/8 The Culture. You know what it is. Leave a comment. We do this for y'all. We listen to y'all, and we give y'all what y'all want.
Money over nonsense always. I think I'm gonna change my name to Crypto P. Peace.